And for JuJu Smith Schuster, it's 18 minus the teen. It's 1 year, $8 million to stay. What? To stay with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And this is just a week after NFL media said he was telling teammates he's not going to come back to Pittsburgh. It's barely a week after he voted on that SI.com poll. Will JuJu stay in Pittsburgh? Either I hope so or that's a negative. And there he is, blue check mark, JuJu, that's a negative. So he thought he was going to get much bigger money on the open market. We talked about it last week. It was crickets with JuJu Smith Schuster, and it worked out just perfectly. And Chris, it came down to the Steelers and the Ravens. It was Steelers and it was Ravens. There was a report the Eagles were involved. That was a lie. There's a report the Chiefs got involved. They got involved late. It was too late to change the momentum. At that point, it was down to two choices. Steelers, $8 million. Ravens, $9 million, plus $3.5 million in incentives. JuJu opted to stay where he had spent the first 4 years of his career and go back to the team that a week ago he was certain he was leaving. That, to me, was a stunning outcome, Chris.
Stunning. I mean, it really is. Well, again, it just speaks to the wide receiver market like we were talking about. I mean, it really does. At least with Kenny Golladay, last week we heard teams, being associated with him a little bit and talked about. JuJu, like you said, was nothing. It was like, man, I don't know what's going to happen. I haven't even heard like the slightest rumor of connecting him with anybody other than the Jets. That was the one you kind of heard about.
Here's what happened.
Yeah.
We talk on Thursday. Where's JuJu? There's nobody on JuJu. There's no reports. And then all of a sudden, somebody leaks to NFL media that the Jets are interested. Well, where was that before 8 a.m. on Thursday?
I know.
So they were getting there was a lot of heat. There was a lot of heat on the agents. And look, I think what happened, he went into it wanting too much. Once the teams knew what he wanted, they all shied away from him. They had to let him reduce his expectations on his own.
It seemed that way. I mean, it's certainly like the writing was on the wall as far as that. And I mean, all you got to do is look at what he signed for. That pretty much tells you exactly what was out there to be had. He didn't go, I had $15 million a year or $14 million a year on the market, but I'm gonna take 1 year, $9 million with Pittsburgh. No. That means there was nothing in the range of what JuJu was expecting. Listen, I'm interested to see how this plays out. I understand his decision, but it was risky versus risky to me either way. You go to Baltimore, it could be cool. You might win the AFC North and, be a part of a great football team and all that. But as we know, you might come away with a year where the stats are just they're not that great because they run the ball. And, you might have some cool highlight plays, but are you going to really have the reception and yards to back it up? Now he goes to Pittsburgh, Mike, and I'd say, I don't know. I still think it's risky. He's risky going to Pittsburgh too. I mean, I think it's a roll of the dice. We discussed last week. I mean, I'd have a hard time thinking that the Steelers coaches didn't go back last year, watch film, and go, whoa, we got to get Claypool and Deontay Johnson the ball more. Like, that to me would be like the thing they're going to look at and go, they're difference makers. JuJu's really good, but those two guys can scare defenses and do things like that. So JuJu, I think, is also taking a risk of not being able to have a huge statistical year there either. But either way, it's a place where he's comfortable at. He's got a role in the offense, and I understand that, and he's going to try to make it work, and I'm rooting for him.
I wonder how much any of this matters to the guy who actually makes the decisions in real time to throw the football and to whom he will be throwing the football. Because even though I agree with you, they need to build the offense around Claypool and Johnson, he sees JuJu out there, and he is Ben Roethlisberger.
Sure.
Is he going to feel like a loyalty? Is he going to feel like hey, he took less to come back here and be with me my final season in Pittsburgh? I just wonder whether or not that's going to influence the quarterback at some level. He's the guy who's pulling the trigger. Remember Brett Favre all those years ago when Javon Walker was trying to get more money and was threatening to hold out? Favre's like, hey, I'm the one who decides who gets the football, buddy. And we know that's the way it goes, Chris. You've lived it. You know that can creep into the mindset of a quarterback. I just can't help but wonder whether or not having JuJu around is going to potentially keep the offense from being what it can be because Ben may feel compelled to throw it to him.
Well, Ben's definitely going to have there's a comfort level with JuJu. I don't doubt that at all. I don't. Now, where I'm surprised, I guess, Mike, more than anything is, I just thought maybe we'd see the Steelers try to change how they're going to play a little bit, right? We've talked about that. Smash mouth football, protect the quarterback, 2- and 3-man routes, do that. Maybe start getting a fullback involved and leading a smash mouth tailback in between the tackles, that type of stuff. I thought maybe we might see them get away from 3 wide receiver sets a little bit to where it's more 2 tight end sets and 2 receivers with 1 back and, 1 tight end, a fullback, a tailback, and 2 receivers. I thought we might see some of that just from them, just to change the way they play. And like we've talked about so much, follow the Brady Tampa Bay method. Let's play defense. Let's run the ball a little bit. Let's protect the quarterback. Let's let him dice up one-on-one coverage. 3 receivers on the field, of course, that tells me maybe they're going to be a little bit still of a drop-back pass football team either way. But it's an affordable price. $9 million for JuJu Smith Schuster, 1 year. Their team, they probably look at themselves in the Super Bowl winner. Go ahead, go do it, and give Big Ben the weapons he needs to make something happen.
And again, it's $8 million, not $9 million, and every million counts for a team like the Steelers that is up against the cap. They did 4 voidable years on the back end. The cap number ends up being $2.4 million, but that was still enough to put the Steelers in a situation where they have to trade cornerback Steven Nelson now because you need to have cap space to sign your draft picks. So Nelson's out because Smith-Schuster's back. It's that simple. And from the Ravens' perspective, they looked at it, as I understand it, in a very simple way. Either we're going to get this guy or we're going to screw the Steelers up a little bit more from their cap standpoint, because if they bring JuJu back, they're going to have to get rid of somebody else they want to keep. So it was a win either way for Baltimore. But what it does underscore, Chris, is the difficulty of convincing players who catch footballs for a living to make their living in a place where they may not be catching footballs.
Yeah. No, I think that's, it's a real thing with the Baltimore Ravens. It comes down to that. I think we're going to continue to see that if it's a, this for that situation, I'm between A and B, I think the Ravens are one of those teams that, for a wide receiver, they're probably going to have to pay a little bit more to make a guy switch a team or come here to Baltimore where, yes, it might not be statistically as comfortable as the other options you have, and they might have to pay a little premium for that because of the style they play on the offensive side of the ball. I don't deny that one bit.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.